This video is about Hydroponics TDS. In it, we will answer the following questions. What is TDS? Why is it important? How to interpret it? What are its limits? The information I will share is based on research I've done online and my own experience. It's by no means expert advice. With that being said, let's get started. TDS stands for Total Dissolved Solids. It is a measure of how much stuff is in your water. This stuff is usually salts, nutrients, metals, and other substances that were dissolved in the water. The TDS measure is made in ppm, or parts per million. 1 ppm means that there is 1 milligram of soluble or dissolved solids per liter of water. To help illustrate what is meant by TDS and ppm, let's have a look at this chart. Distilled water has a TDS score close to 0. If you take a TDS meter and measure the TDS of distilled water, the score will be around 0 ppm or 0 parts per million, which means that for every liter of water, there are 0 milligram of dissolved solids in it. This is because the distillation process removes 99.9% of all minerals from the water. Non-distilled water or non-filtered water, like tap water for example, will have a higher TDS score. This means there are more stuff in the water. And as we've seen before, this stuff is usually minerals and salts like calcium, magnesium, chlorine, and other things. When water has a high TDS, it's referred to as hard water or water hardness. This is why in some hydroponics articles or videos, you will see or hear people referring to hard water. This means that there are a lot of solubles in the water, and if you test it with a TDS meter, you will find a high score. As we just saw, testing the TDS of water allows us to tell how much soluble are present in it. This is important in hydroponics because we want to know how much nutrients are in our hydroponic solution. This is why TDS is used to analyze the nutrient concentration in hydroponic water, which determines plant health. Having a too low amount of nutrients can slow growth and cause deficiencies, while having too many nutrients can create toxicities. The goal is to provide the adequate amount of nutrients the plant needs, and this is why hydroponics growers will regularly measure that amount using a TDS meter. The adequate nutrient concentration range depends on many factors. Some of the most important ones are the growth stage in which the plant is and the type of plant. For example, flowering and fruiting plants will require more nutrients than leafy greens and herbs. And younger plants, like seedlings, will consume less nutrients than adult plants, especially if these are entering their fruiting stage. For example, the adequate TDS range for lavender is between 700 to 980 ppm, while the adequate range for a mature tomato plant is 1400 to 3500 ppm, and the range for the same tomato plant when it is a seedling will be between 400 to 500 ppm. Now you know why TDS and ppm matters and are often talked about in hydroponics, but it has some limits. The problem with TDS is that it groups all soluble together and does not offer information on specific nutrients. For example, if you use your tap water and it is hard, some minerals that might not be useful for the plants will modify the TDS score and will flaw the result. This is why I would like to find an alternative method which can tell me what is exactly in the water. A good idea is to use distilled water in the first place so that the only soluble you measure in your water are the ones you added yourself. With that being said, TDS is already a very good way to understand what is going on in your system, and for small-scale systems it is often not even necessary. It is more of a test to have if noticing certain deficiencies or excess in your plants or have weird growing results. This is it for this video. I hope the information was useful in some way. Until the next time, take care and have a nice grow.